Hello guys, welcome back. And in this lesson, we are going to consider paddings and margin. We have seen the width and the height, and now in this lesson, let us look at padding and margin. So what I'm going to do here is that I don't need to have an overflow of that. I also don't need to have a height of that. So I'll just remove them. And then in the browser, if I do a refresh here, we have all right, why is the width? Okay, that is because I've restricted the width. So let me say the width maybe to be 500 for now. Okay, let's give it, yeah. For now, that is fine to understand how the padding and the margin works. So as I've told you, the padding is the space around the content. The margin is the space outside, all right? So let us start with the padding. So if I say that I want the space, as I told you, the padding, if I say padding is 20 px, now expect a space around my content, some breathing room for the content. So if I go here, all right, let me refresh here. You see now there is a space around this content, this space here. Sorry, this space around here like this. This is the padding. And now I can go even further and say that I want, this, when you define padding like this says basically I want the padding top, right, bottom, left, everywhere to be 20. But if I want the padding top and padding bottom to be 10, and I also want it padding left and padding right to be 50, I can use such syntax. So this first guy here will apply to the padding top, padding bottom, while this other guy will apply to the padding left and padding right. So if I go back here, let's see this. So now as you can see, as you can note, the padding on the top is very small, like the padding on the left and right, they are quite huge. And that is because I've done this. You can even go further and apply padding, for specific sites. So for example, I can say that I want my padding left alone to be 50, while on the other sides or every other side, I don't want to have padding. So if I do this and do a refresh here, we'll only have padding on the left, while on this other side there is no padding. So I can go ahead and again do this. Let me just do this. Let me actually start with padding top, padding right. So I want to go clockwise starting from the top. So say padding right, let me say maybe 30. Say padding, um, let's say padding bottom, let's say padding bottom is 20, and padding left, let us say maybe 40. And now let us remove this. So I'll start from the top. The top will have a huge padding, then right 30, bottom 20, left 20. So let's say this, as you can see now on top, right, bottom, left. So that is what we have. And now there is a short, or a shortened form of these things, defining the padding from the top, right, bottom, left. So I can just say padding like this. And then the first guy will be 50 px. This will apply on the top. Then I can say the right guy, I want them to be 30 px. The bottom I want to be 20 px, and the left I want to be 40 px. All right, then I can just simply delete this guy. So if I do this, this will do the same thing that I've done. Actually, let me just add here 60, let me add here 40, let me add here 30, let me add here, okay, that will be okay for now. As you can see now, still this works, and this is a shorthand for defining padding top, right, bottom, and left. In other words, in a clockwise direction. So that is it with padding, and let me just add another paragraph here. the second paragraph. So we expect to have two paragraphs which are very close to each other like this. And then we can see, all right, so we can say, let me put an ID on the first paragraph here and say top P, that is top paragraph. I can come here now and say I want for the top guy, the top P, to have a margin bottom. Now the same thing that we defined for the paragraph margin. So we can say margin. So margin will apply or refer, no, let me, so margin bottom will refer to this space between these two elements on the bottom. As I've told you, is that margin bottom or margin is the space between elements. So if I go back here and I say I want my margin, let's say margin bottom to be 100 px. Just observe how the space will dramatically increase between these two guys on the bottom side. As you can see now, the space here, this space between these two guys has dramatically increased, and that is because I've used margin bottom. So I can also use margin top, but it's recommended not to define something like this for margin, because margin is more of a space and you don't necessarily need to use this. I just like using specific margin for specific places on the element. So I can say margin top. Probably 90% of the time you'll need margin top and margin bottom, uh, for your elements. I can say margin bottom again 100. If I go back now, as you can see, there is a huge space around, or rather on top of these elements. So that is it on how to apply margin and padding to your element. So you can play around and let me know how you fare with these two guys. That is it for this lesson. Margin and padding, I hope you have been able to understand.